Evidence-based suggestion, evidence-based advocacy. One of the strongest reasons why this case cannot be shut down. We don't talk of emotion, we don't talk of partisanship, we talk with facts that affect the development of the country, facts that relate to every aspect so that no one is left behind. I think we'll start this discussion by asking leaders of this work, Abubakar Tamara and Abubakar Farawali from Budget Advocacy Network. Budget Advocacy Network comprises like-minded civil society organization and other advocacy organization on open budget. But the secretariat is being run by these people that I invite here to present the report. Abubakar, can I give the mic to your Abubakar?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Abubakar, and I am the Programs and Policy Officer for the Advocacy Network. So, as we all are aware, we are here for the Open Budget Summit. So, we will move now to see what is in the report. So, first of all, you need to know about the Open Budget Summit. Actually, research students that access to central government budget information. So you can tell that if the citizens can have access of the budget, then they can be knowledgeable enough to hold the government accountable. For this process, it's being done across the world, 125 countries. So in a very short moment, we get to see what is in this report as the assessment went. So the Open Budget Summit, first of all, you need to understand that it is an independent research global that assess government open budget system. Okay, we compare the scores that we have, of course, the scores of other countries in the 125 countries. It is done every 2 years, so you can see that the trend is every 2 years. When we have the 2021 survey, it is only now that we are also having to produce this results, because it is being done across a very long period of 18 months. So you can see as we progress. But then, this assessment is based on international standards that are set. And so the document we considered doing this research have been the documents published by the government of Sierra Leone and event activities and development activities 31st December 2022. Now you need to know that the open budget survey is based on 3 aspects. And those aspects are transparency of how public resources are raised and spent. That's the first point of assessment. Then opportunities for participation in the budget policy. You know, we raised this in the last report that the space was shrinking because we used to have too many people at the budget formulation stage participating. and they scrutinize the budget at that stage before it goes to Parliament. But over the course of years, beginning from the COVID-19 period up to now, that space has been shrinking. So, you will not be shocked if you see the result of Zion's participation at the open budget assessment, because that's one key area that is also being assessed. And then oversight. For Sierra Leone, we have in the audit service alone, we have Parliament. They provide oversight to the budget. So this survey also assess how we have been performing their role in line with oversight function. And so, I did mention that the assessment period is 18 months. So, it's not possible for you to have open budget survey every year. Because first of all, the fiscal year should end. And then you have another year in which assess that fiscal year. And so, the following year is when you publish the results. So this is how the process starts. It comes to experts. In the case of Sierra Leone, it is budget advocacy network. We are the researchers. And then when we are done with our survey, we send to the IBP, International Budget Partnership, for them to review what we have surveyed. And again, the IBP will do their review. They will send to the external review, who is the subject matter expert, that will also check what we have surveyed so far, and in line with the review done by IBP. And then, after the external reviewer completes his work, they will now send to the government of Sierra Leone for them to also review. Because this result is also about Sierra Leone. So you do not do any research about Sierra Leone without involving the government. So that is how they send the report to the government of Sierra Leone for them to review and validate. And then, after that review, the report also moved to the IBP, International Budget Partnership, for final review before it comes out. So I will now also invite the other partner to take you through the rest of the results, the technical part of the OBN. Thank you very much.
He has mentioned the three areas the survey looked at. Then, for transparency, which we call the in-depth, that's among the 90 indicators. For public participation, has 18 measures the opportunity given by the state for citizens to participate in the budget process. Then we have for oversight, that we try to measure strength of Parliament and audit service institutions in terms of the oversight that providing over the budget. This is what the overall cost for the report for 2023. I'll go into details. But for the transparency aspect, you can see in 2021, we scored 45. In 2023, we scored 50. I don't move up by 10 spaces for the transparency aspect. For public participation, that is looking at the space and opportunity being provided by the state for citizens to make input or contribution to how decisions are arrived to provide health, research for healthcare, education, and all the rest of it. For public participation, in 2021, it was 31. 2023, just as Abubakar mentioned, it now dropped to 20. We're now looking at the details and shall see why it dropped to 20. For budget oversight, it's saying 46, but there are two components that form that cause. The role of Parliament in providing oversight on the budget, and the role of audit service providing oversight on the budget. In the presentation below, I will show you the different scores. So, for transparency, this year we move from 45 to 55. So which means for 2023, we are the top in our neighboring country. that talks about Liberia, Ghana, Gambia, South Africa, Nigeria, and Guinea. And I want to say one of the reasons for this is because of the government decision, deliberate action to actually ensure that more documents are being provided to the public. And for open budget survey, they can always say this document is publicly available when it is online. So if a government is being produced and not online, the survey does not consider that document to be an open budget. So it must be online in a government website. So now, we'll now look at the global ranking. As I mentioned, the survey is a comparable survey. You can compare your country to another country. For 2021, we are 64 out of 125 countries. And for 2023, we are now 47 out of 125 countries. Which means, in 1 year, Sierra Leone moved up by 17 spaces. So please, let's give a example of this for finance. So now, this just shows you the trend. So we started open budget survey from 2011 to 2012. So it shows you the trend. 39, 52, 38, 39, 45, and now 55. So we hope that this trajectory will continue. Well, let me hasten to say, for the open budget survey, it's only when it's for 60 and above, you can say the country is producing enough documents for the citizens to use to hold them accountable. So for now, even though we score goes up by 10 points, but we are still not yet reached the pass mark, which is 61 and above, or 61. So when it's 61, you can see that the country is producing enough documents. So the transparency aspect look at 8 key budget documents globally. Look at pre-budget statement. In Sierra Leone, the pre-budget statement is what we call the fiscal strategy document. For Sierra Leone, that document is being produced but not published on time. Again, let me ask you to say this. It's a comparable survey, and there are deadlines for the publication of certain documents. So if you miss that deadline, it means that that document is being produced but not published on time. So for the pre-budget statement, which is fiscal strategy for Sierra Leone, it's being produced but not published on time. They publish it late. And the international criteria say that document should be published at least 1 month before the budget is being tabled in Parliament. Because that is the document that ties budget, that sets the overall macroeconomic framework, that sets the overall revenue target, the assumption. And by right, that document should be discussed with the Parliament in terms of broadly what they should expect to be in the budget. What's happening here, that document is being submitted the same day the budget is being tabled in Parliament. The international standard is that is the document that should inform the budget. So that's why it is there as a yellow. For the executive budget proposal, which is being produced and published on time, is green. The enacted budget produced and published on time. The 60 budget, that is simplified version of the budget, being produced on time. The in-year report, these are the reports that are being produced by the Accountant General, the monthly report, the quarterly report. And I can tell you now, they are now producing that document and they are not publishing it on time. Because the Public Financial Management Act is clear. The monthly report is to be published within 1 month after the end of that particular month. For the quarterly, it's 3 months. So for now, they are not publishing this document on time. The media review, again, it's yellow, it's been produced, but it's more for internal purposes, not being published. Before the NDR report, which is being produced by the Accountant General, that's the annual statement of accounts. The PFM Act says 3 months after the end of the year, and indeed, they are producing it within 3 months and publishing it. Of course, the audit report, which we all know that always been produced, and the PFM Act says within 1 year after the end of the year, and normally submit that report in Parliament in December. So what we did was to look at the comprehensiveness of this document. As I mentioned, the Transparency Act has 109 indicators, which means it has 109 questions. So when we look at the comprehensiveness in terms of the information, for each of them, you can see the executive proposal, it increased from 54 to 59. The enacted budget, it moved from 56 to 78. The sitting budget from 50 to 84. The Indian report activity 63. India report 2 to 62. The audit report 7 to 76. So this means more information are now being provided to the public in these documents. So like for example, if you take the executive budget proposal, we now see more debt information. We also see information on tax expenditure. We also see information on SOEs, statement enterprises code. We also see information around public debt information, public debt. So more information have now been provided by the state through these documents. So that's for the transparency aspect, where we move from 5 to 5. So now look at the participation. So the global average move from 14 to 15, which means overall country has improved a little bit on how space is being provided for citizens to participate in the budget. For Sierra Leone, we move from 31 to 20. And there are a couple of reasons for this. Number one, the timetable for the budget discussion was not published on time to the public. And the fact that at least a month before the budget discussion, we should publish the timetable so that citizens can know that public was there. Number two, the budget process was published almost at the day of the start of the budget discussion. And that is the document that guide what MDA should do. And of course, again, we see an act of not them being provided feedback. You know, if citizens participate in the process, there are feedback mechanisms that in some way, these are the inputs being made, these are the inputs that are captured, these are the inputs that are not input. So that feedback mechanism, that's one of the reasons why some people are not interested in the budget discussion. Because you go and make input and you do not know whether those people are completed or not, and nobody talks to you around that. So that's one thing we the Minister of Finance have to take on board. Actually provide feedback to the people around it. So that's why it moved from 31 to 20. So of course we see Gambia now top with 26%, and interestingly, the Gambian team came to Sierra Leone to that of us. Now they are ahead of us. So it means it increased by again, on participation, it does not only examine participation at the budget formulation stage. It examines participation at the formulation stage, at the approval stage, at the implementation stage, and at the audit stage. So the indicators we mentioned about look at the space being provided by citizens to participate in all of this budget process. And for Sierra Leone, it's mainly at the formulation level. So you can see for 2021, we are up there, 73. Of course, 2023, you see it down, because I've mentioned some of the reasons here. Of course, at the approval, it's the same throughout, no space being provided by the executive for citizens to participate in the particular process, whether in the form of hearing or form of testimony, no space being provided by the parliament. At the implementation process, we now see it move from 0 to 17%. For the audit, it's from 44 and now to 33. So on the oversight, it's trying to measure the strength of these institutions, the strength they are providing on the budget oversight. So it looks at parliament and audit service. So we now see for Parliament, it will reduced further. It moved from 30 to 33. Of course, we now see over the years, the audit report is not being discussed. Even what is going on, there is no published timetable that says. So there we are looking at Ministry of Agriculture, so that citizens can come and listen and participate in that particular process. So it's reduced. For audit service, you can see it's improved by 6 points. And one of the reasons is we are not seeing audit service going around, consult citizens on what they think audit service audit. And we have seen the survey find out that evidence that citizens' input in terms of what audits have been populated. There are certain projects in district that are audited as a result of citizen suggestions. That's why it's equal to 78%. So, I mean, these are just high-level summary in terms of what actually changed on how we move from 45 to 55. So we now see the increase and the bit of information in the enacted budget, the linear budget, city budget. This is just overall high-level summary. So with all of this, there are some few recommendations we are sure to provide. So this first one is improve transparency in the budget. And then we have a number of recommendations. First, for my presentation, you find out that the pre-budget statement is being produced but not published on time. So of course, we are recommending that that document, the fiscal statement, should be published at least 1 month before the budget is taken to Parliament, so that Parliament can look at it firstly debate it, because that's the basis upon which the budget is built. And of course, the media review is being produced internally, but not being published. So that this document can be published online and on time. Of course, we're also saying that there are certain key information that need to be included in the executive budget proposal, which the budget that we table in Parliament. And some of this information include the non-financial assets held by government, the estimate of the impact of everything, the assumption for the inflation rate, the real GDP growth, interest rate, and expenditure, revenue. So we are not saying, even though they are providing some of this information, but we want more of this information to be in the executive budget proposal. In terms of participation, we are going that, they really expand the mechanism for which engage for members of the public that wish to participate. As you all know, the space that is being provided is not that much open, in the sense that the invitation has been sent to various GPOs, civil society. But what the international standard is saying, it should be an open process, and that one should be communicated to the public. I know some of the challenges by Minister of Finance because of logistics and all the rest of it, but it should be that communication to the public at all accounts that we are really going to let citizens come and make their input. And also again, that apart from discussion, there are no other mechanism upon which citizens can make input or suggestions in terms of the budget. Again, the aspect of leaving no one behind, that will make progressive action to ensure that we leave no one behind by providing the space for the underrepresented, the vulnerable, to actually participate in the budget process. And of course, the other one is publishing information online about the budget discussion ahead of the process. I mean, it's going to be second. In the next 3 weeks, let there be information in the public. The budget cost cycle in the public, the timetable should be in the public, so that citizens can have enough information to go and make meaningful participation in the budget process. Because what's happening is documents for budget discussion are given at the doorstep of the discussion, which means you will not be able to read all the documents and make meaningful decisions. So that's why we are saying documents for discussion should be published ahead of the budget discussion, that citizens can be able to participate meaningfully in the budget process. And of course, the other ones are allowing civil society to testify. Oh, sorry, this one should be Parliament. So for Parliament, what we are proposing is, the survey find out that there is space for citizens to participate or make input, and that's our proposal. So we are proposing that they should allow the public or society to testify during the hearing of the order before it's been approved. Because there are people that have testimony on how the budget will impact their lives. And people need information to make a decision to approve the budget. And that's one way in which citizen input can be part of the whole approval process of the budget. So, for example, there's a lot of resources say, for the administration of health that is bring of the Minister of Health. And then there are small resources for primary health. But there are citizens from the community that will testify some of the challenges they are facing. And with that, it will provide a way in which citizen input can be incorporated at the approval stage. Of course, again, allow members of the public to testify during the audit hearing. Of course, we all know over the years there have been some problems in terms of conducting audit hearings based on the Senate report. And that process is mainly between Parliament and the NGOs. Civil society and other stakeholders have no space to make input or even testify. And I can give you one example. The onion project that was supported by government for Moyamba, Karine, Buloko. When we went to the field, and the good is, audit service team picked that up in the audit report. Absolutely, the intended purpose was not achieved. The warehouse was not built. The onion was not produced. And if it allows CSO or stakeholders to come and bring those testimony in their audit and enrich the process in terms of how some of these issues affect the ordinary citizens. Of course, audit service has established some amount of mechanism for citizens to participate in that process. But that one for now is a hard process. So we want to establish a real formal mechanism that provides opportunity for citizens to make suggestions or inputs. They are doing it now, but that process needs to be well established and well formulated from different angles, not just committee, but also the elite in terms of what they want audit service to audit. Okay. Next. So again, let's go. So in terms of oversight, we have one key aspect. The Public Financial Management Act is clear that if government has additional revenue or requires additional expenditure, they need to go to Parliament to get their approval. And Parliament is not making use of that part of the Act to actually hold the executive accountable. In some instances, we are seeing them taking the supplementary budgets to Parliament. But there are a number of instances wherein those changes in the revenue expenditure and actually the limit upon which they can take the Minister of Finance decision. So that's one recommendation that they should refer to Parliament for that. And of course, the audit report with the PACs we're supposed to look at, it should be published online. If you go online now, you can also see, I think 2018, 2019 audits of general report. 2020, 2021, they are now looking at 2022. It's not online. And that all hinders on the role of their oversight. For for audit service, they will not say it. But what we survey look at, we examine their budget proposal. We examine what is being allocated to them. And we examine their function. And it's quite clear that the resources being provided by the government to audit service is not too adequate enough to be able to put up all of their mandate. So that's why we are recommending that enough funds be provided to them. And one of the other suggestions is to see how who determine their ceiling. Currently, it's the Minister of Finance that determines their ceiling. And Minister of Finance is one of the people that are going to audit. So I think one of the proposals or discussions that has already started is to find a mechanism in which there are now going to be direct discussion with the audit service and Parliament. So once Parliament approve their budget, then that resources will be available to audit service to carry out their work, so that they will not be stifled in one way or the other by resources as well as their work. So thank you very much. So this is a summary report. By the end of the day, we'll show you the link to the summary report and the full questionnaire that shows you the answer to each of the questions that is being answered. Thank you.
I think he deserves a louder applause. Not just because of the content of the presentation, but the commitment he just made before handing over the mic. So it's leading by example. One of the indicators that brought the country way down is not publishing it online. So he has just said that whatever he said here, and much more than what he said here, will be online. It's accessible to everyone. Thank you very much for this presentation. I think it just supports the idea and the statement that I gave that Budget Advocacy Network, year in, year out, always talk about issues that are verifiable, evidence-generated, evidence-based. It's a quite enriching report which I encourage all of us to read. We are behind schedule, so I'm not going to give any synopsis, any overview of what he said. He said it in very simple and clear way. I like statistics. I like data. That's but he said it in a non-data language. He said it in a language that we can understand very clearly. There is no need for me to break it down for them. It's already broken down for every one of us for the consumption of a variety of our users. Thank you very much, Abubakar. I think we go to the next session, the panel discussion, which we try to give reflection of this presentation, perspectives, and critical questions, and maybe positions. And the panel is really a rich one. We have the Ministry of Finance. We have Parliament represented, I am very sure. We have Audit Service Radio, and we have BAN, and we have from the development sector, UNICEF, that will be on the panel. And I will just take whatever belongs to me here and give much more space to the panelists so that you see that you hear them instead of seeing me here just running around and gazing and admiring at their expression. So I'll kindly invite, if you're not already up here, somebody representing the Ministry of Finance. Oh, thank you very much, madam. Welcome. And Parliament. Yes, I see somebody walking now. So you definitely introduce yourself, have a seat. You're welcome. And okay. And I'll also call. Yes, UNICEF here. Oh, somebody from UNICEF. You know, the face of UNICEF, I know. and somebody would come here that we speak to the subject matter. But for all of this to be well coordinated, I will call a popular voice, known voice, and known face to chair this session. It's Mr. Andrew Labadi in the room. I don't need to introduce him. I think everybody knows from IGR. Who chair this. He is also somebody who always speaks data and evidence. What service, Sir Aliu? Oh, welcome, sir. Also a non-face, a non-voice. So I hand over the mic to you, Mr. Labadi.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, when I sat, down there, anyone give Baka a round of applause. So for someone that is, interested in data and data use, so I know the things behind generating numbers like this. So I think we apparently is that round now. So the political economics in me, tells me that the data should have been worse than this. You know why? Because it was an election year, period into elections. We did the cost of corruption some time ago and realized that election was problematic. But I just add to the recommendation, how do we ensure that a year or two leading to elections, how do we coordinate ourselves to ensure, because future risk is very high in moments like that. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that in some respects, or given the course around the elections. I think this is a good one. So many things are not surprising at all, given the fact that there are clear areas of openness. But at the end of the day, what many Sierra Leoneans are interested in, it's not just about publishing this online, but it's about actually knowing what is happening. Because when you say online, how many Sierra Leoneans are actually online? So there was this Nigerian musician. He used to be very critical of regime. So he's a poet rather, not a musician, he's a poet. So the day that musicians, that poet said, I'm going to do my poetry in a slum, the government said arrest him. So they don't mind going to academic and talking about your poetry, but go to the slum. I think that's become somebody better. Why am I saying this? If some of this information available online are already, and that's the good news is we have a lot of respected journalists here. I don't know how you're going to package this into jingles, and how we package our budget into jingles, and for the wider Sierra Leonean to consume, like grandmother to have, not online to consume that. So with me here, it's going to be a panel that is going to navigate the next 45 minutes. I'll give you 5 minutes in the first round, and then so you've seen all of the sorry, let me take that back. I'll give you the first 3 minutes, so you have a broad reaction to the data that you can make to this. So I will start with UNICEF. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Alimami Kapo, Government Consultant for UNICEF. We are happy as UNICEF to be part of this process because we very much believe that if we make public finance work better, then we can be able to deliver services for everyone, including the children in which UNICEF is very much interested. And so when we see this kind of work that will help governments and those of us, institutions, support government to be able to improve on the public finance systems, we are always happy to be part of it and to be able to support. And so the improvement in transparency is one that we welcome. We do hope that the aspect of media publishing, that is very, very key. The media publishing of government revenue and expenditure so that we can keep track in time. I think that will further help the process. And of course, we are already working with Ministry of Financial Participation to continue to work on that, to improve on the participation, especially of women and children in the budget process. And so now we'll stop here.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brian Jimisa. I am the Director for Parliamentary Budget to advise Parliament the legislature of fiscal issues, budgetary, public financial management, issues having to do with public policy. That's why we put the specialized office. So I bring big greetings from the parliamentary leadership, both political and administrative, and I want to say thank you to the man for his good job being done together with the partners. So I think the facts, the data is very much clear. The report is quite clear. The analysts, we've all seen, most of us here in the room, we've been following economic or fiscal issues generally. We've seen the report as it is presented. Some areas as states we have been able to improve, apart from the fact that, like Salabani said, it was an election year, we were able to do inroads, but some of the areas we have actually not done quite well. And I think one critical area of concern is the parliamentary oversight. I remember the last one for 2021 when we went to Brookfield Hotel, audit service was somehow saying, oh, Parliament, we are actually the one dropping our standard down in a way. And I think everybody is looking at how we collectively can improve the situation, because this is what we have. Thank you so much. So my submission this afternoon is more going to be contingent on my role as a fiscal analyst, as a specialized office. I'm not a member of Parliament, and also based on the information I know because I support the members of Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm the deputy director of budget and finance. I'm representing. Yeah. Thank you so much for.
We are not hearing.
Can't hear me. Okay. Letter. Dr. Ali from the Ministry of Finance. It's a pleasure to be here, and of course, we as the government should always welcome when progress is being made. An acknowledgement of the efforts that government has been making, so speak for themselves, especially in terms of publication of key documents and making not only publishing our documents but also making government documents as comprehensive as possible, including enough information as possible. If you look at our budget speech book, there are lots of annexes there. Each year we add more annexes, and that is because we want to give the public as much information as possible. So we were happy that the efforts that we're making are being recognized, but we're doing this not because we want to improve on our scores, in isolation, but also to be more accountable to citizens, to help you achieve, help government, for you to help government to achieve its development goals. A lot of things have been done, and even the citizens' budget. I know you're saying that you want government to package this open budget results in a more accessible manner. For the budget to be doing that, the citizens' budget, we not only present it, but it also has like an addition that the National Civil Service, the one headed by Mr. Tusani, they have been a partner of in terms of producing the citizens' budget so that more citizens can have access to it. So we welcome the efforts. I have to make a statement, and as we go, I'll highlight most of the slides that the government has been making and what we plan to do to improve on openness in the budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we give the mic to Audit Service, please? Just briefly.
Good afternoon, Maury Lansana, Assistant General Public Service Leone. Of course, for us, we are the people's guardian. That's what I will say. We guard the economic security of Leone. And it's clear, the presentation made this afternoon is very clear. You can link it directly to what has been the audit report for the 2 years that have been prepared. Carry out when the reports are issued, we all cry. It's a clear manifestation. I think today I will sleep because when I watched some of the data that was presented, it's clear. So it's no more a mere opinion when audit reports are issued. This is what people say. It's like mere opinion is no longer a mere opinion. And because our objective is centered to service delivery, and it's very clear that you want to render services to people, people must be involved of what services they need to do their needs. Once that is not done, there is always a mismatch. This is the kind of expectation we will get to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we are now going into the conversation proper. And I'm going to start with UNICEF. You know, too often when we talk about budget, it's seen by many people as abstract. People want to see money rather than budget, written on document. UNICEF is one organization that pleasantly you promote government service delivery for those of us in the NGO sector. We normally see government service, NGOs working on government service delivery as capillars. It works well, help to ensure that there's wash facilities available. But what BAN has done and what we do is actually different NGOs like that. This report is meant to attack the underlying cause of poverty, things around openness, things around transparency. How will that make development more effective? So it's pleasant that UNICEF is part of this. So my question to you is related to children. How is all of this going to translate into welfare?
Okay, thank you very much. I know normally people, for the first time when they hear UNICEF in this kind of space, they are surprised because what they know UNICEF for is supplying drugs, supplying teacher and learning materials, like you said, doing water. But globally, UNICEF, long before now, it's only now picking up entirely. UNICEF has come to the realization that for better service delivery for children, public expenditure, public spending is also important. This is because it is governments that should take the lead in providing services. Development partners will come in to support what government is doing. So because we want government to also prioritize children's issues, make efficient spending decisions, so that at the end of the day, we are able to provide essential supplies, be it drugs, vaccines, textbooks, whatever service that are needed by communities, but also more specifically by children. Government can be able to do it. Government will be in the driving seat, and we as partners will complement that effort that government is doing. If the budget is the basis of government spending, right? So if there is not sufficient, adequate provisions in the government for child-friendly programs and activities, at the end of the day, the spending on those programs are going to be low, inadequate, and not efficient. And so that is why we work with government to make sure that the public finance system is efficient, it's effective, so that at the end of the day, adequate resources will be allocated to those programs. Because we work in the social sector, health, education, water, child protection, these are what drives spending in government. And so we want to see that it's being done efficiently, so at the end of the day, children benefit from this spending, and that is why we are in this space.
Thank you very much. So clearly you see a clear link between what UNICEF is doing and open budget. I think open budget actually matters to children. So it will be useful to see sometime down the road how children will be incorporated in activities like this. So I'll just progress straight to Parliament. Normally when you say you're from Parliament, people think you're an MP. I think you are uniquely placed in that you are on either side to tell us how do you think this material can be utilized. Clearly, there are worrying signs of Parliament. Clearly, we saw that Parliament dropped how many points. Parliamentary oversight dropped significantly. Whilst we admit that it's a measure here, but it's actually inexcusable for the drop we saw in Parliament. We realize that parliamentary committees are not open. There was a clear call for civil society expert witnesses by dint of our experiences in terms of being frontline people on the field. We actually want to see how can civil society being able to serve as expert witnesses. So I just want to hear from you. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I just want to know how can Parliament really, make its oversight effective using, because really we need to change these numbers from 33 to 30. It should be changed. So what are your thoughts?
Thank you very much. Yes, so the question is how we can improve oversight, especially on the national budgets. As the figures indicated there in the reports, there is no challenge to improve. My perspective is going to be based, like I earlier said, on what information is available and what I don't know. As an expert, somebody provides policies to Parliament. So I want all of us to first of all look at what constitutes oversight. It's very important because my submission also you will see some things that are related to different things. Perhaps you are not even aware that in a way they are oversight. So the idea is a process that the legislature uses to review, monitor, and influence government policies. So the reason why I say this is there are so many things we do which by every indication we believe and by law is a form of oversight, but a larger majority of citizens are not aware. And I have not seen indicators of oversight for this survey. If possible, I don't know whether some of these things or all of them are actually captured. So, for example, legislative amendments and proposals. If a supplementary budget goes to Parliament and it is approved by Parliament, under normal circumstances, based on the general perspective, it is just an additional budget we have approved. But do you know that that is actually a form of oversight? Because what happens in that sense is, by adding money means you are influencing government policy in terms of pension. It's a form of oversight. So we do a lot of legislative reviews and amendments and policy reforms, also policy and performance evaluations. For example, during the appropriation process, for those of you that have no Parliament, you will know that there is a tool we use, we call the appropriation questionnaire. And that appropriation questionnaire would ask you, not just saying this is the budget we need for next year, but we clearly ask so many questions related to how you use the previous monies, based on the deliverables that were given to you as an entity, what impact you have actually created, you have achieved. And we sometimes even ask for evidence to show that those ones we actually, and we verify them on follow-up reviews. So those policy reviews are also forms of oversight, but you will not see them practically, and some people do not look at them to be a form of oversight. But coming to the question, say how we intend to improve or how Parliament can actually improve efficiency and oversight. Few things that are quite clear and they are achievable, we are intending to do going forward. One is to improve collaboration with civil society organizations. So I give you an example. The last PAN report, this survey report, the OPS report, when it was published, I used it, I conducted a session for the entire parliamentary leadership. And one of the critical concerns was the budget office that is supposed to be a fiscal office to support Parliament is not legislated by law. So we believe their independence is not clear. I am Mr. Abubakar, we had a conversation about that. And we organized that session with the leadership in McKinney, We had a resolution to say the PBO should be legislated by law, our mandate, our responsibilities, and the autonomy should be indicated. And as I speak here, we now have that legislation. It's online. If you go, you will see the Parliament Act of 2023. There is a whole section for the Parliamentary Budget Office that even says in the execution of our responsibilities, we are not supposed to be influenced, or we should not be. So we have some autonomy to a very large extent, and our responsibilities are defined. So what I intend doing, or what we intend doing, is going forward, like even this one that has been published, we have an agreement again with the leadership. We look at the critical areas, we have some resolutions, and see how we can improve. And then another area that perhaps we want to look at is to improve on our information management systems. Most of these things have actually explained to you about even the operation questionnaire. Maybe the way they are placed, or the way usually they are conducted. OPS not know that these are actually forms of oversight. They are indicated in this way. So they do not have a way to actually evaluate and put in their report. So what we would also do, we will seek the relevant partners. We look at how publications, how information management system could be improved to be able to make sure that all of these efforts actually, they are measured. And then another one that we are looking at improving the capacity for key parliamentary staffers and even the members of parliament. Because PFM issues, economic, macroeconomic issues are expert disciplines that you need to understand what you're doing before you can criticize. And we all know the 1991 Constitution provision about you becoming an MP doesn't necessarily meet the expert in those areas. So we believe in as much as our MPs are trying very hard, they're doing their best. But there is need also to continue building their capacities, and especially possible, like the budget office. Because we know the MPs can come and go, but we are there, and we are supposed to provide the support service to them. So continuous capacity building with support from partners will also help. And then review of the appropriation questionnaire. Now, what is tools? They are actually oversight tools, like the appropriation questionnaire I mentioned, you can get from the cabinet website. We usually review maybe every other year to reflect government direction. Like this year now, we are intending to review that tool again to look at the agenda and how that will be monitored from parliamentary perspective. So continue to be observed. That oversight tool we believe also will help to improve our oversight. And the other one, maybe that is generally for, not for parliament, but alone, but also for civil society. All of us, how we can collaborate. MP's retention, in my view, I think is a critical component we need to look at as a state. Yes. Okay. So because the item sometimes you train them, some of them are become quite knowledgeable, and the next minute they are not in. Then you're going to have a new member of parliament again that has its own side. Before I came here, I met with the deputy speaker, the new deputy speaker we now have, and I specifically asked him his views on how to improve, we intend to improve oversight. And these were his exact words, that one, Public Account Committee Secretariat is going to be reviewed so that more experts are brought on board to be able to open the space and see how they can speed up work from that perspective. And also, he has requested, he said he's working with audit service earlier, and also the budget office now is trying to see how we can also provide some expert service to enhance the review of the reports that are currently available. And then he's also even planning to organize seminars and symposiums at university levels for people to understand the effect of audit report and some of the issues that are there. And he's looking at reviewing some of the audit reports. So basically, for the sake of time, I think this is what I can speak for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great recommendation. We'd just like to add, I would take this opportunity as a chairman to add, we actually need catalytic action. There is a need to move rather than parliament to transform the parliament. So the parliament that actually uses information like this. So the last time we checked, about 2,550 audit recommendations in 6 years. we realize that only 35% of those recommendations are implemented. Want our parliament to be concerned about that, parliamentary committees, when they say oversight, want to ensure that I think parliament should be asking in each committee how much of those recommendations have been taken on board. There are a number of MDAs that we interact with. They tell you that when I'm being called for oversight, I need to go there. So I'm not on this table doing what the but I think it's good for Parliament to be asking the right questions. So we go to the next speaker from the Ministry of Finance. All of this really matters for service. At the end of the day, it's not really about like continue to mention not how much of these percentages for my grandmother. What was all of this? So for the Ministry of Finance, how will you enhance open budgets? I know you're very good at providing financial information, and I must say, in terms of linking all this to results, I don't know whether you've seen the Leone at www.leone.com. So all of the promises made by President Leone for national development plan are online. So you're doing well on information. So how can you present that?
Thank you very much. We're doing a lot, but there's not that. Even on the area of transparency, we have scored the highest. I think on the part of the Ministry of Finance, or the part of there is more that has done. What has already come up with some information. But on our own, there are things that we should be thinking about. I think firstly, of course, the collaboration with civil society bank has helped, and we want to sustain that relationship. Myself and Abubakar closely going through the reports together, etc. That has helped us to put us on our tools in terms of ensuring that we publish and we publish on time, because that has been the issue. I will speak to the FSS, which is the pre-budget statement, which has been a concern over the years that it's been published, but not published on time. And so we would like to, I think a suggestion for us to improve on that would be to review our budget calendar to incorporate publication and debate of the FSS in Parliament, I think, ahead of the budget. There are issues internally why the FSS is very late due to funding. It has to be informed by something that has to be completed, etc., etc. But we're working on it, so at least for the 2025 budget process that we move. So at least ahead of this also helps with monitoring on the part of Parliament. If they have it on time, these people just then when the budget gets there, they already know what to expect, they're more informed and can push us harder in terms of accountability. Including group other groups, the other groups that we can include in our budget discussions. As I must say, is actually being complemented when you go, international in terms of the way we involve this budget and aside committees, etc. We have noticed for that. However, we understand this time I'm talking to children, disabled groups, etc., etc. Also, even for the civil society, those civil societies like specialists, who are specialized sectors like health sector, or the mineral sector, etc. I think we should make the conscious of on the part of the Ministry of Finance to include these types of civil society. Also, there are other things that we can do with openness. I believe also engaging the leadership of Parliament, partnering with your office for us to conduct because you cannot conduct this meeting without the budget department as the Minister of Finance. We will want to partner with you in terms of having this type of training for Parliament. Because we do it when the new Parliament comes, But I think it's good for us to do it, at the start of each parliament, each year. But these three budget oversight committees, I must say, we have been constituted them, and they have also been a trusted partner in terms of oversight of the budget. So we constituted them, and I think what we need to do now is to ensure that they report to us on time, and also when they report to us, use these reports to shape government policy and feedback to people in terms of how their inputs have been taken on board. In terms of the oversight, that's usually not, important, but I think close collaboration with the Parliament, Budget Office, and something, Ministry of Finance, we usually have a certain influence over other institutions because we have the purse. But I think we can use that influence better to collaborate with these institutions so they can perform their functions better, which helps us actually to ensure that MPAs are actually implementing the programs they say they should implement. We all know currently the fiscal space is tight, and with that, little resources that government has, we have to ensure that the right programs are being implemented and the policies that were implemented are actually changing the lives of people. So I think those are collaboration. The recommendations are there. We will work together with the relevant stakeholders to ensure we implement them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Finance. Great points there. So we continue to talk about transformation. The big word around has been right inclusion, and so I continue to have on this placard. We actually need to make sure that information is out there in ways that are digestible. One of the things I recommend to the Ministry of Finance is to institute a practice where the councils can give annual reports on services that they get revenue generated. So, but that's what my grandma will understand. This is a service that was given, this is what is for the hospital this year. So in ways, that's budget for them. So I think if we demystify it, will help. I'll just progress straight to the audit services. So there's quite a lot. Are you satisfied with the way our monies are spent? I just want to know whether I know that the Ministry of Finance is really useful for them because in a way it should help citizens to understand the constraints that they're under. So normally when we talk about accountability, government normally think we have to them at pressure. But we're actually helping them to show us your limitation and we can manage our expectation. So on the ministry, on audit service side, I don't know whether you're satisfied with the way our monies are being spent. And if not, how can you increase participation in light of the numbers that you see?
Thank you very much, Mr. Labani. I would have loved to get a feedback from you as to whether our monies have been properly spent. Because our own role is very simple. We are in the democratic scape and also in the accountability space. That's where we push ourselves. The budget of itself is for the people's rally, and this happen when approvals are given by Parliament, allocations are given to ministries, departments, and agencies to implement programs, and then when all these processes are done, that's where audit service comes to give assurance to the people that indeed the intent of Parliament has been held by those to which resources were allocated. Now, that comes in the form of audit reports. And where the process starts is where the Constitution gives the mandate for audit service to report. The process starts with the assurance and approval being given by Parliament And according to the provision in the Constitution, the Auditor General reports to Parliament. Now, over the period, what has happened? When reports are sent to Parliament, I think that's the kind of most of you, if not all of us, nobody knows what happened after that. And in that report, our concern as a Supreme Court institution is that we must add value. The job we do must have an indication on the lives of all of us, because I'm Mr. Leone. So on all of us. And the only way that becomes meaningful is when actions are taken on audit recommendations. If nothing is done about it, then all of what we are seeing here about budgets stays on paper. In Mr. Kamara's presentation, he spoke about onion. And if all of us may recall, at the time that report was issued, there was an onion crisis in Sierra Leone. The first of its time. So it means there was a strategic thought that onion is important, and if we have the fertile land, we have the little resources, we can do it ourselves. That was the more reason why that the funding was actually given to the Ministry of Agriculture. But when it came to implementation, it becomes an issue. And let me tell you a story. All of the papers that you can think of that indeed that project has been implemented were available. All, when you think of approval, certification that indeed this job has been, in fact, the only money that was outstanding to be paid was the retention money. I all know when retentions are paid. Now, what have we done? And why was it reported? I'm actually in charge of the audit of ministries, department and agencies. We say, fine, this is what audit service has done now. Give us whatever figure you think you can provide to us, because that the figures are what we see in financial statements or financial information that are submitted. Give us the figures. Give us all the documents. Kudos to Ministry of Finance, we are now having a lot of documents. We are satisfied with that. Give us all the documents. What we will now do, we will go beyond the figures. Because the principal objective of the audit is to express professional opinion, independent opinion on whether the finances of the state are being utilized for their intended purpose. That's where it stops. But for us to certify that indeed it has happened, then we need to satisfy that, to be satisfied that indeed those resources have been used for their intended purpose. The only way that can be done is when it gets to the intended beneficiaries. So we have to embark on the journey to Loco, to Karine, to Mwamba. It will interest you to note that even when we engage on the journey to Loco, Karine, and Mwamba, we have to formally notify the paramount chief, town chiefs, section chiefs, and the youth group, because these things were meant for them. One, it should have been for them. So they thought we were just going there, and it will interest you, when we went, they never knew we've communicated to these people. When we went in Portloco, they took us to a very decent site. Nice site. This was the site. In fact, it was somebody's plantation. Somebody's farm. This is the site. Everything was in order. Of course, don't look at photo. If you look at this report, it will deceive you. You have the most decent, most latest, most technological reports. Drones were used to even take the report that were given to you. When we went to that place, it's fine. This is the site, no problem about it. Then I sent for the paramount chief and the section chief. He came. Where are the contractors? Contractors are going to for the land. People say, no, we've never seen people of this nature. You know what I told the guys? I said, you know what, since this is, according to you, this is the farm, we will now accept that this is public property and this should be taken on board by government. Boom Samba was another location. Boom Samba. Same, nothing at all. And if you're interested to note, Moyamba, it was the agricultural demonstration site for the Jala University, agricultural site. For those of you who know that site, the site before you get to the Wanga Bridge, that site has been there for decades. That was why these guys don't know that this is the site, because in the contract it was like you have to acquire land, you have to actually buy land. So government had beautiful intention. Resources were needed, but those implementing those resources, that is where Ministry of Finance needs to come strong. What have we done further? Because October we report nothing happens. If I was to do a presentation, you see the slope just on the 20. We are currently doing 2023 audit, and we are following up on 2022 recommendation that we made. The slope of on implemented regulation is just right there. I think for those that are either partly or now in process of being implemented because of intervention of either internal audit or ACC, is between 20 to 30%. And we have backlogs for 2020, 2021. So what have we done? Catch them when they are young. Because I know all of us have children. When you go home, they will start asking you questions. We started engaging schools to go there for our public education. Public lectures, telling them about our work and the effects of actions not being taken on the audit recommendation. Chiefdom authorities, go down there, we sit with them, we discuss issues with them. Now, those issues, those are the first step in just communicating audit findings. But equally so, we started this in 2021. But yet still there was no improvement in action on audit recommendation. Then the acting auditor said, okay, fine, you know what? Can we change our strategy? In 2022, we now have to actually sit and start asking at student level, at district level, at even attire basis. Maybe this over push, the push guys. We go and sit with them. What are your needs? Why are you taking this? What do you think government should consider? All of these considerations are now made at the pre-planning stage of our audit. So we are having what we call citizen participation in the audit process, but this is actually done at the pre-planning stage. I know somebody may want to, are you not independent based on the provision in section 119 subsection 6? So we are being at the pre-planning stage. Our independence is not being tampered with at all. It's not being influenced at all. At the pre-planning stage, this is where we look at what are the needs of the people, what are the risks associated with it, and these are now factored into audit programs that we execute. After the audit exercise, what do? We go back to the people and give them feedback based on those engagements that we've had. Now, in all of this, the non-state actors are key in all of this because they are the front, I call them the frontliners, because they engage these people more. So we are in engagement with all of them. But what have we done in order to have a concrete arrangement with the non-state actors regards how we collaborate within the audit process? Through the support of the Ministry of Finance and donor partners, we've hired a consultant that is trying to ensure that we have a synergistic approach, and the output will be having a strategy, a documented strategy to how all of this engagement will be in order to foster a good audit accountability network in Sierra Leone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think we're going to start recommending for the strategy, because we don't want the financial will come in the next 2 years to come back here and then have the story. So, I mean, when you spoke, I don't know whether some of you saw our paper two weeks ago on big space. So, for a divided society, it's difficult for citizens to act on the issues. Because, as a matter of fact, people are underperforming. All of us should come together to say, no president feels successful, to our president will perform. But polarization is actually affecting not only the work of it's making unity. Right. So here are two recommendations that will make you. I don't know whether you think, establishing a team underperformance because there are some people that need to do. So if there are 10 people, 10 vote controllers, because these vote controllers move from one ministry to another. Sometimes they are awarded big positions, big ministry because of the things that they do. So is it possible for us to have a little audit uptick? And of course, are you rewarding good performance as well? Because in the midst of all of this, there are islands results. So people want to
there's a stakeholder you spent currently being all of the stakeholders in the accountability sector at another location at country. These are the things that have been discussed, and interestingly, I'm part of the committee that reviewed the civil service code and regulations. These are some of the things I brought out that if the HRM will consider this as a factor. There are examples in other countries like Bhutan. In the public sector, official, you have audit issue, and you want to travel, forget about it. You will not travel, you will not have a finished job, they still rely on taxpayers' money to do another trip out of it. In some other jurisdiction, like this Mongolia, for you, the public officer, to be allocated another resource, you must have certification from the auditor general. You go ahead. Like finance, they receive budgetary allocation request from somebody. Can you see that there are no outstanding audit issues on this entity? Once that is done, you are ticked. They are both not understanding why we are engaging people now. Why are we doing all of this engagement? Because the recommendations are very clear. We people in responsibility. For example, if we are to award, then it comes to we are human resource. HRMO should be in a position to ensure that that takes precedence. Public Service Commission, they should be in a position to ensure that this happens. So it's about willingness. If all of us sitting here can relate this to the authorities that this has to be done, then it's something that will be done. Then people will start taking issues of audit accountability in private, another level that we all expect.
So Baka, I will return to you with all of this. I know we have gone a little above time. But I will return all of this to you. So what do you make this in terms of our role as civil society?
First thing is around to continuously bring back the facts, engage constructively with stakeholders. In doing this, we have to be consistent because change does not happen. It takes time. For example, what we did around tax incentives started way back on 2012. We did that to make that within 1 year we lose like $2 and then from just 4 was only to have the equal. So that concept is key. But all of the work we are doing here is their service delivery. And we should, as a society, closely collaborate and bring this information to the public in a way that is friendly, in a way that has a human face. Because when this information are not out there in the public, it will be difficult for citizens to hold government officials accountable. I will end with a story on how lack of information to the public applied my community, which I come from, Italy. There was a World Bank project that's supposed to be getting in at the end of New. And that is supposed to serve the whole of fishing and bonding. To ensure that the fish are preserved, there's a proposal to build a room by the airport. Of course, the road from Conakry to the airport was very bad road. So the World Bank has identified that the road from Conakry to the airport should be paved. The people of Kafubulon do not have that information. The Parliament chief do not have that information. Along the line, a contract was given to the person that's supposed to do the environmental impact assessment. of course, the wrong person was given the contract. He did, but you know, the end, absolutely anything. At the end, that project was cancelled. Who suffered? People of Africa. There was no change about my job. The road will have been paved. Up to now, the road is still damaged. So this, and by then that information was limited, just few people. If that information would have been public domain of the people of Kapulo, you would have voted in one way, peacefully in one way or another, that those responsible people hold accountable. So my final closing point there is, when we have a project, enhanced service delivery, and you can see as part of our banner, it saves lives. Therefore, we as a society will work together and continue to push government to ensure there are reform, continue to ensure that people actually are out there with citizens in a way that citizens can be understand and can relate to the various communities.
Thank you very much. It's quite an interesting and a good note to end on. Clearly, it's the report is showing that governments are not doing it alone. The report is showing that politics are not doing it alone. Ministry of Finance, even Parliament are not doing it alone. We actually need to support you in that part. So where our work is invaluable, where our work is seen as a solution, it will not just open the space of ethical human class, but currently to save lives. So thank you very much. And just give a round of applause.
For me, I'm satisfied, and I think we are satisfied. Just in case you can just give another round of applause, try to prepare the ground for very important aspect of this evening, and that's we're listening to statements from the Ministry of Finance and our development partner representative here, UNICEF. And from there we shift up. I know if you want to say like we shift up this evening by having a keynote statement from IMF. So hold tight. And for this evening, one thing I'm really impressed with is the keen attention of everyone. I've not seen that kind of distraction that I used to see. So that means this is a very important topic of discussion, and I agree with you more. If we want a better life, let me start from
Good afternoon again. I will start by my statement by saying I think government has been doing a lot. Again, to what we earlier, we have issues from the top we have. Notably, the citizens' budget, inclusion of civil society and budget oversight of the civil and budget process. We know we have to do more in terms of feedback the civil society sector, and also we're also implementing some reforms around gender budgeting and also child budgeting. If you see our budget calls Akila with the support of development partners such as UNICEF, the Ministry of Finance has been working on piloting gender budgeting and child budgeting. So with such reforms, it means you have inclusion of more stakeholders, interest in our budget, and also partnership with government in terms of achieving our goals. It is in the interest of government to pursue a budget that is open, to pursue the open budget agenda, because it helps to gain the trust of the citizens by accounting to citizens how revenues are raised and also how subsequently what people do. Allowing participation in the budget process ensures that government allocates resources better as citizens can influence the government programs, which therefore helps government to achieve the goals and also achieve effective service delivery, which is one word that has been coming up, effective service delivery. Also, oversight and monitoring of the budget also promotes better use of government resources, especially in the case of tight fiscal stance and competing government priorities. So it is really in our interest as a government to promote open budgets, the open budget. It also helps government to mobilize more resources. It's no mistake that you have development partners in the room. These people are very, they really want to know what to do with the money that they give us, because they also have to be accountable to the taxpayers, which puts resources that they give to say. So the more we are accountable, the more we can also budget, the more resources we can mobilize as a government, and also the more service we can deliver to the people and change the lives of the people of Say. So it is important, and that is why the government is committed to promote book budgets. I think I'd like to conclude on a few key points. The importance of collaboration. I think we've seen it here. In the open budget, there are a number of players, and usually when you have a number of players, you do not collaborate, you do not work together, nothing is achieved. So I particularly want to thank them. They have actually been a trusted partner of the Ministry of Finance. The way Mr. Bakar works, he comes to us, we sit together, we discuss the issue, we plan. He even sometimes gives us the nudge. This needs to be published, etc. It's a good way. And we want to, I think it's good that we continue this collaboration amongst key stakeholders. So the report has a set of recommendations which Mr. Bakar went through. We have them. I think it's now important that we work together. Again, as I said, it's not just about improving the scores, but it's really for us to change the lives of people and to save lives. As Mr. Bakar made a very important point. So the recommendations are there. We have time. The good thing is we'll not be assessed this year but next year. We have time. And also it's quite timely, usually the release of this report, because it comes out ahead of the budget, when we in preparation. This year, I'm sure we're going to even make improvements in terms of the budget circular coming out on time and the budget that are working on them. So with all these recommendations, there's an opportunity for us to include or to improve on some of these, or to implement some of these suggestions in the report. Lastly, before I want to also call on donors actually that are here and other donors to work with the civil society and the NGOs to capacitate them. For me, you cannot effectively monitor government if you do not have the capacity to do so. if you cannot analyze audit information, if you cannot go into the audit reports to see what it means in sector, you cannot challenge government. Again, government resources are scarce, but so we don't know, like UNICEF, the FCDO, Christianate has been doing very well working with civil society in terms of supporting civil society to capacitate them so they can challenge government. We are calling on you, please support the societies that are interested and that are willing to work with you. I would also like lastly to say that government remains committed to implementing a budget that is transparent to support government's agenda to inclusive growth. And I want to thank BAN for guiding us. I've learned a lot, I've noted a few things that I've taken to the leadership for us to take into consideration. And I want to thank you for listening. And please, the budget process is coming up. We're calling on societies to come and challenge us, and so we can be full of I thank you.
Is it not sweet? With all those commitments, and I trust that those commitments will follow, because I'm a feminist and I know what women can produce. As long as she has said that she's gonna work with the civil society and make sure the principal, the other decision makers above, we pay heed to those recommendations. So we are happy, and we are happy for such commitment, and we are happy for cooperation. It's been demonstrated here that the partnership, the one call it the marriage, the kind of relationship that civil society is establishing with the various actors. It was demonstrated by what we are saying. You see the audit service Leone is now using participatory citizens engagement, carrying the citizens along the processes, something that the Ministry of Finance now gets affected year after year. We've had the parliamentary budget directorate also adopting those policies. So we know we'll get somewhere, we'll get there. And now we listen to leave, I guess. I'm suggesting for you that you're gonna give a statement on behalf of development partners, on behalf of UNICEF. Yeah, so we're listening keenly because we have the ministry saying they are now doing child-friendly budgeting, gender-friendly budgeting. So the budgeting is getting more inclusive and responsive. If we take the mic now, I hope the mic is working properly.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All the protocols observed. Can you hear me?
Okay.
So I'm very pleased to be here on behalf of UNICEF, and I guess now also on behalf of other development partners. And it's exciting and interesting to be here at the launch of this 2023 Open Budget Survey results. I would like to take the opportunity to congratulate the government of Sierra Leone on this effort to improve the overall score in the Open Budget Survey, and with the end result to have better results for every single person living in Sierra Leone for improvement of life quality and access to services. I would also like to congratulate the Budget Advocacy Network and the International Budget Partnership on the completion of this Open Budget Survey. We saw that the score has gone up, and I think that's a very important progress. I hope it will continue to go up. Everybody should be proud of this achievement. We applaud the government's commitment to improving openness on the budget process, as evidenced by the steady improvement in the Open Budget Survey transparency score, and it's a very important result and the expectations are now even higher for the next round. According to the International Budget Partnership, there's growing evidence that countries with more open budget systems have better development outcomes. This is because high levels of transparency invariably empower citizens to hold government to account and demand prudent public spending decisions and implementation. And I think this panel discussion that we had just a few minutes ago also demonstrates this with the different analysis that came through the panel discussion. And we can therefore say openness in the budget systems leads to better budget outcomes, including for child rights, for gender equality outcomes in health, education, WASH, and protection. Also, as UNICEF, I always like to mention the promotion of children's rights. And it's very important, including in budget discussions, to take into consideration the situation of children. And we know that children or population under 18 years old is around 40% in the country. So it's a significant part of the population that we're speaking of. And we want them to have the best possible opportunities for development because they are the future of the country. And we want them to be become adults that can contribute in significant ways to continue to build the country. Therefore, the public finance interventions that UNICEF is promoting and advocating for is to ensure adequate, effective, efficient, equitable public spending on social sectors and programs that promote children's well-being. Our public finance interventions include the promotion of open budgeting, which means creating a space enabling the active participation of different stakeholders, including children, throughout the budget cycle. And you might ask why children, but it's important that children learn about these processes from an early age so that they start understanding it. And that way they can become more and more active as they grow up in analyzing what is the budget. And if they become public servants, they will be very well generally prepared, but also go in as expert in the kind of education they will have. And I'm sure that will contribute to bringing Sierra Leone even higher on this survey when we look forward. Also, increased public participation in the budget process can lead to more efficient, effective spending of public resources on priorities aligned with the SDGs. And this will again bring better outcomes, I think, along the lifespan of a person from your born till you're an adult, till you're growing into old age, so throughout life. And we will continue to work with government and other partners to improve public finance systems, including budget openness and participation by civil society to analyze and come with critical questions to government, so that outcomes for public spending will contribute to the well-being of every single person, no matter what age in this country. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lee. That was really, really useful statements, and we continue to have commitments, of course, demonstrated commitments in the past that you have not only said, but you have actually supported this process very strongly, and you give the reasons for that, and those reasons are very reasonable. If we want a brighter future for this country, I think we better invest in children. And investing is not just provision of land in Nigeria, which you are already doing, but it's actually advocating that we start involving children in budget process. I know some people will see that as a little bit abstract or no, it's already complex for us. Yes, but you rightly said, Madam History, that there is support to the civil society organization. They have the tool, they have the know-how how to break down, to digest those complexities into child-friendly packages so that there is more child participation. And I think, and I agree with you, that can increase our rating. Before we go to the keynote address, I was informed by one of the backers that there is a press statement. And so please note that there will be an avenue for that press statement that will be released, and with full participation of the press here. I see them a lot around. So just note that. And then the other announcement is we have all been patient from the beginning of this session, the keen participation. The room is really in real perfect forum, keen interest and participation. Can I also join the voices of the organizers to wait so that there is a group picture after the keynote address, so that we don't just disperse like that, we continue holding forth in this very good way. And with those announcements, I think our IMF representatives, Mr. Wayne Michel, welcome to the room, and thank you so much. It's not easy to see people with such busy, very busy schedule to sit in this room from the beginning. I think either you came just before me, or maybe I just, by the time I was called by Bakar that no, we don't have the chairman, you step in. I saw you sit there already. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. We appreciate that. And all the other dignitaries that were in this room before, can we just give them a round of applause? This is really, you have given us an example, and I know this thing is here live and it will be rebroadcasted. That should be an example for public position holders or power holders that for such important discussion, we should not just come here as as a token representation, but actual participation. So I hand over the mic to you.
Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me? I have a confession to make. I don't have so much as an address, but bear with me. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to address you at the launch of the 2023 Open Participation Report. My thanks to Abu Bakr Kamara and the Budget Advocacy Network for providing me with this opportunity. So, the theme of my intervention is access to budget information is of paramount importance for the population. I will do this in a very indirect way. I'll ask many questions which are provocative, but in the interest of time, they will not be exhaustive or comprehensive. Nonetheless, I ask for your indulgence and your patience. So let me begin by asking, what is the single most critical instrument reflecting a government's economic policies and intentions? To give you a hint. The budget. So, in my view, it is the government's budget. Section 27 of the Public Finance Act of 2016 defines the budget as an appropriation act by which Parliament gives statutory authority for the issue of money from the consolidated fund to meet the amounts of expenditures voted by Parliament. That's really good technical. So, I paraphrased it. The budget is the government's plan for the economy, including changes to taxation and spending that is approved by Parliament. Put it simply as that. But let's dig a little deeper into this. A well-planned budget is supposed to strategically allocate resources